I'm gonna start this garden tour with my total harvest thus far. Seeing a lot more flowers on the raspberries than we have in the last video, which was about 5 days ago. Let's see how close I could get with this camera before it gets too fuzzy. So far so good. Not bad getting this much growth from 8 raspberry plants. This bare spot of land you're looking at right now, this is where the radishes were. Unfortunately, they've all gone woody, and a lot of them got mushy and buggy, and I decided it was time to pull them out. This will be a row of okra within the next 2 days, 3 days. And with any luck, the okra will be productive and take it all the way to the end of the summer, into the fall. These are the Alaska peas. I don't know how well you could see it, but I'm going to use my finger as sort of a pointer. Right there is our first pea of the year. And this is from an Alaska pea plant. I have these in because they're an earlier variety than my little marvels that I normally grow. I'll just pan over a little bit so you can see the rest of them. They're all doing very well. They've got a pretty decent amount of flowers on them. You are now looking at the little marvel peas. I grew these last year, had pretty good success with them. They're just starting to get a lot of flowers. Now these peas are an heirloom variety. I've had really good luck with them the last 2-3 years. I believe it was 2 years ago I started them. I may have grown 1 or 2, 3 years ago. I'm not 100% sure on that, I can't remember now. Either way, I've had very good luck with them, and I think I'm going to have good luck with them again. These peas are not as fast as the Alaska peas, so they're going to take a little longer, but the Alaska peas are doing good, and so are these. This pinkish beneath those leaves is our first strawberry of the year. We'll be eating this hopefully within the next 2 days. If something else doesn't get it first, mainly birds or ants. The strawberry plants are doing great. I had a lot of flowers the last video I showed. Now I've got a lot of pollinated flowers and berries. I'm just going to slowly go up the row so you can see what we have. This is a bit of a bird's eye view on our kale. The kale's looking really nice. I was expecting it to bolt. I don't think it got as hot as I anticipated in the weather. So I think we're okay. It's definitely showing a lot of growth. Lots of inside leaves are starting to emerge, really in all of the plants. I've never really eaten kale. My first try, I've nibbled on a couple little pieces. It doesn't taste that bad, but I've never actually just taken a full leaf and eaten it yet. That will be coming once I can get the courage up to do it. These are the early russet potatoes I planted in the ground. I'm hoping that we could get some before the end of August. I believe I mentioned in my last video I had to hill these up still. I still do. I haven't gotten to that yet. The point of hilling them up is basically to get more potatoes off of them. When you hill them up from their stems, they will actually put out more roots, and from those roots they'll form tubers on the end, which will grow into potatoes. This is the asparagus bed I started 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I didn't get them started until a lot later than recommended. So I was fearful that I was going to have some issues and I was never going to get anything out of it. I don't know if you could see it clearly in this video, so I'm going to actually walk into it and point it out. Here's an asparagus spear. I have another one over here, another one here, and another one here. I'm hoping that's the first of many. Obviously they're not going to get harvested this year. You never harvest asparagus in its first year, and you usually don't want to harvest it in its second unless you take just 1 or 2 spears. So within, hopefully, in 3 years, we'll be picking a lot of asparagus out of this bed. This is my seedling, first one of the 4 I planted, of my Necker Gold wax pole beans. They're going to be set up on a trellis that's made of wood. It's a 4x4 with just a couple of pieces of scrap wood, and I used sisal twine. And the point of this is the bean will just grow up the twine all the way up to the top. The top of this bean tower I built is probably about 7 feet high, so I should be able to just reach them. If need be, I'll use a ladder. This is the carrot bed. I'm starting to see a lot of weeds and the carrot seedlings. The scary part is I can't tell right now which exactly are little grass seedlings and which are the carrot seedlings. So I'm going to have to give them just a little bit of time before I go crazy pulling weeds out of this bed. This is the herb garden, if you want to call it that, an herb bed. My sage looks like it's doing pretty good. The chives are doing very good. As you could probably see, the flowers blowing in the wind. The oregano does not look very happy. The basil didn't look happy at first, but now it's starting to put on some new growth. I think it just needed to get itself established and get through its shock of being planted back here. This is the bed of red onions. I've probably still got a ways to go before we get anything we could pull out that would really look like a good onion on the bottom. We may have a scallion or 2 in there right now. So far, I would definitely say they're growing pretty good. Not too much to say on them. Just, they look like they're doing well. I really haven't seemed to have lost too many that I've planted that haven't come up from the beginning. You are now looking at the rhubarb bed. The youngest 2 plants I got not too long ago in the spring are looking very nice, very healthy. They've definitely not died off on me like some I've had before have. And the big plant in the back was stunted, I would say, for a little while. After the last 2 weeks I didn't notice too much growth. It grew tall, and then that was about it. Now I'm starting to see some top growth, so I think this rhubarb stock is going to keep going. The yellow onions in this bed look like they're doing just fine. I believe they were a little water starved when we had our dry spell. I watered them. I probably should have watered them a little more. I don't think it hurt them too much. They look like they're doing pretty well. I don't have too much to say about the onions. They're a pretty long way away from being picked and eaten, and hopefully stored for a few months into the winter. You're now looking at the tomatoes. They're showing a lot of growth. I would say probably about another month we'll probably be seeing a tomato or 2. Getting a lot more flowers on some of the smaller varieties in the back. In the front I mostly have the larger varieties, Brandywine, Celebration, Delicious, and I have a couple Romas in between. I'll just show you a quick view. Not too much to update. Thankfully I've not lost any tomato plants outdoors yet. You are now looking at some of the berries on our Patriot blueberry bush. There's a lot more than that.